You're now listening to Black No Filter with
That's Why I'm Fab.
No IG Angela.
LGK Music.
Do you think that all guys have to have a necessary hoe phase?
Ooh, need to have one.
Yeah. I'm really trying to be like a more rounded individual. And when I look back on my, earlier life, like university days and stuff, and looking at my friends' behaviour, and now both my sisters have, my sisters are at university, one's finished and one's still at university, and listening to her stories, like of her friends' foolishness and just nonsense, I'm like, wow, this is a lot. And all I say is, oh, but you guys are young, or he's young, of course he'd do that. But now I'm just thinking, actually, I feel like every guy's having a hoe phase. So my question is, do all guys have a hoe phase? And how long does it last?
This is to manage expectations.
How long does it last? It could last forever for certain man. It could last. It could be a few months. It could be a few years. It could be several years. It could be a couple of decades for certain man. I don't think you have to have it, but it's often. I mean, you're gonna have one. Everyone's gonna have one. Everyone's gonna have one. You don't need to have one, but everyone's gonna have one. Everyone.
I can't even think about that. I've got two brothers and I just get
Your
stressed.
little brother is going to have one.
Don't you dare talk about that, please.
We're gonna fight.
I can't even cope. My poor mind. It's too much.
You know what? Some guys, they find the right person very, very early.
What if they
Very
don't? But
lucky.
they can't just follow Jesus. Not one.
Everyone's following Jesus.
No,
like
but not one.
No, they're following Jesus in their hoe phase. Hello.
Well, it depends. It depends what you mean by a whole phase, though. Like, are they actually out here dipping and doing it? Really?
It's hoe. First of all, before we go any further, before I offend any parents, is hoe a swear word?
It's not a swear word.
Also, if you've got children listening to this podcast, we'd like to remind you again that this podcast isn't for children. So please don't listen to this. And if you listen, well,
yes, I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But so when we say hoe phase, we mean a phase where you are hoeing around, about, up and down around the town.
No,
Actually,
You tell me that not one guy.
I think 80 to 90% of men will have a little section of time where they actually out here doing a bit of a madness. Then they just calm down.
How do they calm? Can I ask a question? Number one.
Find the right person will calm them down.
Oh,
wow, that's a real.
Either finding the right person,
yeah,
or there's a massive change in your life that where you change your outlook on things and you decide to be more serious.
Like catching chlamydia.
No, not that. No. Wow.
That came from left. Angela,
I'm just wondering.
No, not that. I mean, that might change someone's life. I don't know.
Think you sit
so
down.
meeting the right person. But how can
you could get bored of it? You're like, I'm sick of this. Let me just.
Can we go back though? Maybe it's my fault.
Not everyone is able to have a whole phase, by the way.
So many gems you're dropping here. First of all,
let's slow down.
Let's slow down.
To unpack all of this.
Please. Number one, what constitutes as hoe activity? Do you don't have to be too explicit, but I just want to understand. Is sliding in the DMs a hoe activity?
No.
Okay. What's like a hoe activity? Like, just give me rough, so I understand the spectrum.
Can I understand? Does hoe activity always have to include multiple sexual partners?
Oh yeah.
Or
what are hoes doing?
Okay, so we've covered that.
Okay, so hoeing is multiple sexual partners.
Yeah. So I'd say 80 to 90%.
Poor brother.
Your poor brother.
I just want
Your
to
poor
cry.
you. Oh. Let's stop there. I'm flabbergasted.
I just said I'm flabbergasted. Okay, fine.
Can I say though? I think don't worry too much about your brother. Your brother's a good kid. He's one of the very few good kids.
Pray for him, everybody.
So,
everybody listening to this,
fine.
please.
I'm here just waiting for him to
support
my brother.
I'm waiting for him to get.
I'm waiting expectantly.
I don't know your brother as well, so I can't say anything. I don't know him as well. I don't mind as well.
I don't think I want to do this podcast anymore.
So no, but I do. I'm learning so much already. So okay, so we know what hoeing activity is, and we understand that most guys, 80 to 90% of guys. I just want to say to everybody, Linden really struggles with these sweeping statements. But fam,
I said
today
80 to 90%.
Is that not a sweeping statement?
It is a sweeping statement, but it's a percentage.
Is it worldwide or is this a UK statistic? I'm trying to
I
figure
can't
out.
talk for the whole world.
Okay, so it's just
I'm
UK.
talking about
or is this just like
Western
London and
world.
Birmingham?
Let's just keep it there then. Let's just keep it in London.
London, Birmingham.
Let's keep it in London.
Oh, thank God for the covering of Jesus.
So if you're in Bristol, stay strong.
Yes, don't go anywhere. Stay there.
I mean, to be fair, Bristol. Never mind. Let's just continue.
No, do it. Say it with your chest.
Continue.
Say it with your chest, Linden.
Look, man, I've been to Bristol a couple of times. People are very friendly there. I don't think it's that hard to have a little. Anyway, next question.
I don't understand. I feel like those memes that says I was today old when I found out this stuff. That's
Today
my
old?
yeah.
This conversation is giving me a heart attack, asthma, and diabetes at the same time.
I can't even. I don't know what to do. I feel stressed. All right, Linden. So you mentioned earlier before that not every guy can have a hoe phase. What did you mean? Why? What do you need in order to have a hoe phase?
An ability to get women.
What does that
when
mean?
you want to.
Oh, okay.
Not every man is able to do that.
Okay, fine. So you have to have a certain amount of swag,
Certain amount of game.
a certain amount of game.
Yeah.
You have to look a certain kind of way.
I mean, a game could come from different. You might not be able to. You might not be looking a certain way. You just need to have a certain amount of game. That's it.
This is what I tell everybody. I say funny guys are dangerous because I'm telling you, you say hello and then ha ha ha
Might
a
not
few
be a
lols
funny guy
later
ever.
and then boom, you're naked and it's all over. That's not my story. I want to let everyone know that. But that's my disclaimer.
I was waiting to say, this is my song.
It's not my story or my song. But people say funny guys are dangerous. So we're just kind of talking about
I'm going to
game.
change our percentage. I say 60 to 70.
Oh,
I thought about it. 60 to 70.
We can only accept the first answer.
You can accept the answer that I've thought about, and the answer is 60 to 70%.
60 to 70%.
60 to 70%.
Do you know I'm going to accept it because it gives me hope?
That your brother's in 30 to 40%.
Yeah.
my brother definitely is. I got it co-signed by Linden.
Me in the dressing. TV. Okay, so you said that 60 to 70%. That statistic changed real quick. 60 to 70% of guys go through a hoe phase. The hoe phase can last from, what's the shortest time period?
It could be like I don't know. It could be a month or two.
Okay, so that's a lot of
It
time.
could be a long time. Could be short
time.
It could be short
Could
and
be even up to like decades. I feel like some people get lost there and then they can't come out.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's actually like the sunken place.
Yeah, it is a sunken place.
It is.
And that spirit.
You start to think that these are actual relationships when they're not.
Raw.
That's all I can say about it.
So my other question is, you said that the thing that brings the hoe face to an end, is one of two things. Or this is maybe there's other options, but the two things that you mentioned are change in life circumstances, maybe even financial circumstances. Maybe you just don't have the money.
Can't afford it
you don't have a bus pass no more.
Not a bus
And you've
pass.
already covered all the ground.
Oh,
that you
not
have.
a bus pass.
But I mean,
Please,
okay,
Jesus.
being seriously, my gosh, being serious, like a change in, I don't know, life or like some circumstances. And one of the other things you said was the right girl coming along. Now, actually, that can be very triggering, or that can be quite like a problematic statement for a lot of people, because people always say to women, you can't change a man. Don't think you're going to turn up and suddenly you're going to save this man because you are the right person for him. And so he will change his behavior. But we'll come back to that in a second because I really want to understand that one. But I wanted to ask, oh my gosh, do you feel like the hoeing period or the hoeing stage, what do we call it? Hoeing phase, the hoe phase, depending even on length, can increase the appetite for several different women.
Yeah.
So don't you feel like the longer the person stays in that phase, the harder it is to settle
absolutely.
down?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think so too.
Mad.
I think that's always been my thing. I think the longer someone's been in there, you increase the appetite for something, and it's just like, okay, so now I have to stick with one person for the rest of my life.
How do you
manage?
manage?
That one person can't encompass everything you've liked about all those women that you've been with. Takes deliverance, but we're not going to go there yet. So, Linden, can you touch on more about like the right person coming along can end that phase? Just want to know, maybe I missed it. Like you said that like if the right person comes along, they can end. Like as in like the person's found what they're looking for.
Yeah, someone who come in that is a bit different to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
You have a different connection with them. He makes you feel a little bit different, a little bit calmer. You got everything that you want in that one person.
How can you find that person if you're out here with Becky, Louise, Shaquanda, and Tanisha? Like, how do you find them if you're out here in your hoe phase? How do you find them if you're out here with Lucy
and Janet?
I mean, you gotta slow down and stop. Obviously, you can't be out here doing ho 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 ho.
Yeah.
And then stumble across the right person. It's not gonna happen. You have to slow down and stop. Then you might have the time to actually look and see and find the right person.
I'll see that you've gone to the place to what I was going to ask you. So I think it's actually not a mixture of the person happening to come along. It's also probably a mixture of the guy realizing actually where he's looking, he's not actually finding satisfaction there, and he needs to look somewhere slightly different.
Yeah, you can get bored.
Yeah,
but don't you think you can get bored in any situation?
Meaning what?
Meaning you can get bored
in a relationship.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one for me because if you're bored in a relationship, then it's not a great relationship, is it?
I'm not married out here, Linden. What do you want me to tell you?
If you're bored in a relationship with a person, then it's probably not. There's a problem with the relationship.
Yeah.
They need to sort out.
But how do you identify if the problem can be sorted out, or the problem can be dealt with from inside? So we deal with it between each other, like or it needs to be dealt with as in like I need to separate myself from you and find it's an actual. The solution is external. Do you know what I'm saying? The solution
should always be if it's an actual relationship with the person that you actually care about, then you need to deal with it internally.
Okay, so it's more the care rather than the boredom.
I don't think separating yourself. In my experience, I don't think that doesn't really fix anything ever.
I just think it's really interesting because basically what you're saying is, in a roundabout way, for this 60, 70, 80, 90% of men
60, 70.
60, 70, 80, 90% of men who are out here who have experienced a hoe phase, and like kind of listening to what Angela's saying, I feel like there's got to be a percentage of guys who don't make it out the hoe phase, and then what they thought was a phase just becomes their everyday life, and then like almost like what they once wanted, which might have been very different or might have been very exciting for them, just becomes the norm. So then therefore that kind of person just becomes your type, and that's and I feel like oftentimes I look at scenarios where I think, oh, that person's attracted to that person, maybe not even because that's your type, it's just because of what you're used to, and it's what you know, and it's really comfortable. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a little bit interesting for me, because I just feel like everyone's just going around in circles and nobody's really moving forward.
60 to 70% of guys go through this whole phase. A very small amount never get out.
Only a very small amount.
I think the amount is probably a bit larger than what we see on the surface level, because I think people appear to get out and maybe get married and settle down in quotation marks, but they're still living their whole phase.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Living their whole phase?
Yes.
Living their whole phase.
Side by side with their appearance to have settled down. No, I'm not saying large.
She's saying larger.
I think that on a face, on like the face of it, it looks like only a certain amount don't ever escape from the hoe phase. But I actually think that the percentage of guys who get stuck there is a little bit larger than the people that we just see, because I think there's people who can't let that hoe side go. You understand what I'm saying?
I guess it's about what's the margins, or like what's the success criteria of leaving that hoe phase behind? Like what would you
stop being a hoe?
The blood of Jesus.
Amen.
Let me just be real, because
100%. You can't shake those things off. Like you just can't shake it off. I don't believe anybody can wake up and be like, oh, do you know what? Excuse me, Lucy, Janet, Sarah, Lou, whatever. I've decided I'm going to settle down with someone else, and I'm just going to forget about you guys and forget about those tendencies and forget about that lifestyle that I had and was accustomed to.
And not only that, I'm going to forget about you guys, and you guys are going to forget about me.
Yeah.
Oh. Because sometimes I bet you people have the best intentions and they want to forget about everybody, but everybody's not ready to forget about it.
And you know what? I'm telling you, I learned that lesson. You know, like when you're young and maybe for the first time you've met a guy, whatever. And this happened to me when I was at university, and I met a guy and he was really lovely, whatever. And he was like, oh my goodness, my ex-girlfriend, she's crazy. And I was like, oh my gosh, she is crazy. And he would just tell me this version of events, aka his truth, of why this girl was crazy to him. And then we started dating, and then after a while I realized actually the girlfriend wasn't crazy and his truth was not the truth. And actually sometimes when guys want to move forward and do things, or they feel like they've come to the end of a phase or come to the end of whatever, oftentimes the people that they are involved with might find that difficult, or maybe the communication isn't very clear, and so they're leaving lots of what's the word, I don't want to use the word broken because I don't quite like that phrase, but they're leaving people in a state of like flux, or people aren't too sure what's going on. And then I think that is what guys term as AKA, oh, my ex-girl's crazy, or she doesn't know how to act, or she's absolutely lost her mind.
Because when he said "and scene," it wasn't the end of her scene.
It wasn't. He exited stage left, and she was on the stage.
Someone passed my bag. I'm exiting too. Wait for me.
She didn't get them.
What do you mean by he exited and she stayed there?
He moved
so
on.
Let's talk about that, please.
He moved on.
Can I first of all say that, Linden, you're looking at me?
I'm looking at you because you said it.
No, Fabrice said it.
You said it.
No, Fabrice said it. She said he left stage left. He exited stage left.
And she was on the stage. And I just want to...
as in he moved on and didn't tell her that he moved on.
Yeah.
And pretend like they're still in a relationship.
Well, not even relate, but whatever it was that they were in, situationship, relationship, friends with benefits, like whatever it was, I think that lack of communication from either party can leave the other person saying to their next partner, my ex was crazy, you know, oh my gosh. Then the new partner says, oh my goodness, they were crazy. And let me tell you, sometimes you only realize that actually the ex wasn't crazy when the same scenario happens to you. And that's the reason why I'm saying that is because actually, how do guys end this phase? Like, how do they I just don't feel people wake up and say, oh yeah, I'm over it.
And also, I don't think that in their hoe phase, I don't think there's a level of transparency for the girls to know that actually what I'm taking part in, what I'm engaging in right now is just this guy's hoe phase.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the guys are transparent, but I think a lot of times there's a lack of transparency, a lack of communication, and so the girl actually thinks it's probably more than it is, or she's been led to believe that it's more than it is, and so the guy's much more quickly over it than the girl, because the girl's actually really investing in this, and so that's why I think that it's easier maybe for someone who hasn't invested in the relationship or that in that person to up and leave.
Yeah.
But if the person has poured into that other person, not knowing that this was just for meantime in between time,
yeah,
she's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
what's going on? I'm not. Why? How? Meanwhile, the guy's like, what? It wasn't that serious in the first place.
Yeah, and I've had a few friends say, you know, well, we know we weren't really together, or he'll say, or somebody will say, no, but I didn't say you were my girlfriend. I didn't say you were my boyfriend. And I think those kind of things, listen, shady behavior.
So I was having dinner with my sister.
What's shady? Which parts?
We'll talk about
saying in the aftermath, when someone says, oh, what's going on? Yeah, but I didn't say I was your girlfriend. I didn't say I was your boyfriend. We didn't put a label on things.
Yeah.
That after the fact that you've done whatever it is that you've done and dated, or like, and it's not about, that's actually not even about your physical
relationship
stuff.
once you say you are in a relationship.
That's spooky behavior.
I don't believe that, Linden.
Really?
Can I say?
If it looks like a duck, if it talks like a duck, and if it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
Okay, you've got to ask the question.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask
when you're a mature individual, you need to. Yeah, women and men need to ask a question. You need to ask. Let me tell you, I dated a guy. Oh, I hate these stories. I dated a guy, and I knew I didn't really like him. And he was lovely at first, and he was just like, oh, I really want to be my girl, blah blah. And I was like, you know what? Let's just see how things go. And I knew I was stalling because I knew the minute I said I was his girlfriend, the expectation, things were going to change. And I was just like, I don't really want to be your girlfriend. So yes, I agree with you. You need to ask the question. Yeah. What I'm saying is, and which isn't the opposite, when people's situationships break down and the one person says as a route of escape, oh yeah, but no, you weren't my girlfriend or you weren't my boyfriend, that's disrespectful and it's spooky behavior.
Yeah, it is very. Can I say? Wait, can I say?
What's it depend on?
If you're talking about a very long period of time or a short period of time, they're two different things.
I don't think it's about time.
If it's 1 or 2 months that you've been talking or seeing this person, then definitely you need to have a conversation before you can assume that that's your boyfriend. Or
Absolutely,
right?
we're not talking about crazy people.
If it's a longer time, then obviously, then
and you know what? Sometimes
it is about time.
It's a mixture. I think time is one of the elements, one of the factors, but I think also it's behavior. I think sometimes your behavior can speak to you. It can actually say,
but you cannot.
Okay,
assume.
you can't. It's true.
No, I agree with you.
In this day and age, you cannot assume. However, I think sometimes guys and probably some girls as well take advantage of the fact that actually they can act in a way that gives indication that they're in a relationship with the person, they want more from the person, and actually avoid saying anything, so they can play that card saying, actually, we never spoke about this.
I don't like the get out of jail clause. Yeah,
exactly.
That's what I don't like.
And people really take advantage of that. Me and my sisters were having dinner.
We can't hear you, sweetheart.
Me and my sisters were having dinner. I think 2 weeks ago, we're having dinner and we're just talking about general spooky behavior out here. And my sister was like, you know what? You actually need not, you can't just ask the person, are you in a relationship? You have to ask them, is anyone under the impression that they're in a relationship with you? Is anyone might there be anyone under the impression that they're in a relationship with you? Because sometimes also a guy can tell that the girl thinks that they're in a relationship. They haven't had a conversation, but the guy can tell, this girl thinks I'm in a relationship with her, and not actually go his way to say, just FYI, just in case you were confused, we're not in a relationship at the moment. I like what we have, but this is not a relationship and I'm not committed to you.
Yeah.
And maybe they won't say that because they know they know that actually they're getting benefits out of that confusion or that ambiguity, that grey area.
Or the conversation's awkward.
Or the conversation.
All the conversation's awkward, but it's just I mean, okay, I know not every it would be like stupid of me to say like this is what everybody should do, but actually really and truly a good person with integrity, even if it's awkward, it's better to save that person's feelings by telling them clarifying it there and then.
You've got to have, I don't think it's about integrity, I think it's about emotional intelligence and emotional maturity. You can have all the integrity in the world, but you might not want to, if you feel like being explicit about how you feel to someone is going to hurt them or it's going to maybe upset them, you might be like, okay, well, let me not say it quite so clearly because I don't want to hurt their feelings.
But you kind of give some kind of indication, because to be honest, the longer it turns out, the likelihood is that it will hurt more down the line. For example, just like if I have a car and we're all at an event and I know I haven't got any more space and we're, I don't know, in Yeovil, yeah? We're all waiting around, yeah? We're all waiting around. Don't shake your head, Linden. We're all waiting around, and I can see you waiting in the wings, and I know I haven't got any spaces to London, but I'm like, I don't want to tell them that I can't take them because this is a bit awkward. So now it goes from 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9, 10, 11, trains have stopped running. And I'm like, this is so awkward. The reality of the situation is that everybody's going to have to go home. You're going to come to the car, there's no seats. And what I would have told you about 4 hours ago, it hasn't changed. But now I'm telling you, when you can't do anything about it or you've lost time, I feel like literally the best thing you can do, unless for some miracle God is going to intervene and the girl's going to stop liking you or the boys are going to stop liking you, is to give that person the only thing you can save then is the time that they waste thinking it's something and it wasn't something. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I mean, if I haven't spoken to you for like a month or 2 months, I think it should be obvious that.
Pause. That's called ghosting.
Linden said, if I've ghosted you, then you should know.
It should be apparent.
Are we in a relationship if I ghosted for 2 months?
Yeah, you are. Linden.
If I've ghosted someone for 2 months, are we in a relationship?
But that's not the point. It's not the point, because we're talking about this whole being a label. The reason why I'm so passionate is because I actually have a very close friend going through this right now. She's met a guy. He's a really nice guy. She really likes him. They spent like a lot of time together. They spend like, I'd say basically every weekend together in some capacity or another. So she'll go to his and stay over on a Friday or whatever. But they spend like every weekend together at some point. They see each other in the week, blah, blah. And I said, are you guys together? And she said, no. I said, well, why don't you ask the question? Like, what are we waiting on? And she said, I don't want to scare him off. And I said, yeah, but why are you scaring him off? She goes, I don't want him to ghost me. And it's situations like what you just said. If I had spoken to you for 2 months, I'd be in a relationship. The bottom line is, she's been talking to this guy since when? Before the summer. So where are we now? At least 4 or 5 months. The behaviours that they are exhibiting together is very coupley. They talk all the time. So in my mind, I said to her, basically, you're in a... Yeah, but they're doing more than talking.
So do you have to wait until the person ghosts you to realise that you were never in a relationship?
This is what I'm saying.
At some point, before you ghosted them...
I'm saying it's obvious after a certain time.
At some point, before you ghosted them, there was confusion.
Imagine if I didn't speak to Steph for like a week.
But listen, before the week, but before the week, but listen,
it's not obvious to some people.
Before the week, Linden, before that week of ghosting her, you would have been speaking to her, and at that time, she would be under the impression that you're in a relationship. What you're doing is using ghosting to let her know that that's not, when you could actually give her verbal confirmation.
But it depends on where you are with that relationship. If the relationship is very casual, and then you just don't talk to them for like a few months, it's not
so a casual relationship,
and then you go back to her and talk to her afterwards.
But can I ask a question?
No.
But a casual relationship is still a relationship, no?
So every relationship needs a final conversation. Like,
did you start
this is done now.
I'm not
just
saying that.
Clear. The way you clearly approach the person. Be clear with your exit. You can't just suddenly disappear.
You can't disappear like Houdini.
That's not nice. That's not nice.
It's not even that it's not nice. It's just not clear. Like, it doesn't give people what's the phrase I'm looking for? Closure. Now, I don't really know what I think about closure, if I'm really honest with you. I think people just have to have closure with or without the person, because sometimes you want to have closure, you want to ask all these questions and there's no questions to be answered. Like, for instance, like what you just said, Linden, if you start speaking to somebody after 2 months and you just disappear for a month, they're going to be wanting to know, what did I do wrong? And the answer's going to be nothing. I just wasn't interested.
But sometimes that is closure, because actually, if the person ghosts that person and the next time that happens again, you need to know that that's not related, or it is just maybe the kind of person you're going for. It's nothing to. So I think I've just remembered a situation. Yeah, so one of my friends went through a situation where the guy just randomly ghosted them for I think about 2 weeks, and her first thought was, "Oh my gosh, is he okay? Like, is he sick? Is he, like, what's happened?" Like, going through that first panic and stuff like that. And actually, when she finally got hold of him, she was like, first of all, I'm just happy that you're okay and you're safe. That's such a sad situation. Like, I just can't. My heart couldn't take it. That guy. That's how the guy's trying to get rid of you. Like, that's
but she's so concerned. She's like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? I haven't heard from you." And he's just like, "Yeah, I'm chilling.
I've been trying to get away from you."
Oh, that's terrible.
Listen,
but that happens every day.
Your mum carried you for 9 months, and you've grown up to this big age, and this person's wasting.
Not everyone. Anyway.
No, speak your truth, Linden.
Not everyone deserves the same amount of attention from you. I mean, you might like. Okay, for example, do I tell this story or not?
No, say.
No, let's not.
We are gonna end this podcast right here. You say
okay,
it.
so there was a girl that I was seeing. We went out once, saw her twice. Didn't speak to her for ages. Right?
like, went out once, saw her twice. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Don't do the mathematics.
Okay.
2 plus 2 is 4.
Okay.
Minus
Never
fees.
mind all that.
One quick maths.
It was a conversation that was started online, and then we met up, whatever, right? Met up twice, went out once, right? After that, didn't speak to her. I had a lot going on. I was moving from east to west. Things changed. A few months later, I'm with Steph. Like 4 months later or whatever. 4 months into the relationship with Steph, I get a phone call from her, and she's asking me where I am. It's been like 6-7 months.
Was she concerned about your well-being?
She was just. It was very weird. The conversation that she was having was very happy. But I was like, oh, why are you calling me now? Like, it's been 6-7 months. I thought it was obvious that nothing's going on, and I'm in a relationship with someone else now. So that's
Did you? Was the only indication that nothing is gonna go on the silence? Was that really the main indication?
Yeah, because we were talking a hell of a lot more before that.
Okay, and so then there's sudden silence.
Yeah.
Did it peter out?
So why don't you? No, sudden silence. He said.
Oh,
It did peter out. And then it just went to nothing. When I moved over here.
Did you say, like, you know what? It's been cool. But you know, like, we're moving in different directions. Like, I'm moving west.
Let me tell you why he didn't do that. Let me tell you how I can answer. By the way, moving from east to west is a big thing. I understand. I'm currently in that scenario. It's very unsettling.
Listen, this is only what Londoners talk about. From East London to West London is a big
long
thing.
way.
Hello,
God.
it's a long way, and it's a very different culture. Anyway, I'm going to tell you how I know that Linden didn't have that conversation with that young lady, because she called him and was really happy. Let me tell you what happened. So in that time frame, she was watching your stories, watching whatever you were doing. Okay, whatever.
Instagram.
She was still watching you, boo boo. Okay, she was still watching you on your high five or whatever it was, Facebook, whatever. She was watching you. She got her friends to do a little bit of espionage, and her friends gassed up and said, "You know what you need to do? You need to call him and be like super chill and just be really happy.
Don't be crazy.
And just be like, hey, how are you? What's going on? Haven't heard you in ages."
It was Christmas when she called me. It was like Christmas.
Of course, it was
Day.
Christmas.
Probably waiting for an opportunity to call and be cash. Like,
why do people do that?
Yeah.
Somebody messaged me at Christmas. Yeah, how are you? And I said, are you all right? I was so confused. Do you know what? On big Christmas Day, you know, hi, how are you? Merry Christmas. How are you and your family in your villa? Are you all right?
Just leave me celebrate Jesus' birth in peace. You will not ruin his birthday.
I just said, I'm fine, thank you. Hope you had a nice Christmas. We're not having a conversation. There's nowhere else to go. Anyway, this girl, her friends gassed her up and told her to call you and be chill. She didn't understand that it was the end of it, because if she had, then she would have told her friends it's the end of it, nothing more.
And she would have saved the little dignity that she did have and said, you know what, let me come and be going.
Can I just give a public service announcement, please? And I don't know if I've done this before, but please, yeah, if you're female or male and you're talking to somebody and they just start to peter out and you reckon that they're absolutely fine and there's nothing happened to them, don't call them. Oh, hi, just want to check you're alive. They're alive. Mm-hmm. They're always alive. They're always alive until you hear otherwise, okay? So don't be like trying to be like, oh, let me just be like a good Christian sister or brother, or don't be like a good person, or I need to know my truth. I need to get closure. Get closure for yourself in your house. And if you want to call someone, call your friends. And don't call the friends who are going to tell you to call them. They're not the sensible friends.
Friends that will gas you up.
The hype friends, who sometimes I'm the hype friend, don't call them. Call someone else who's going to say, yeah, leave that alone. Leave that alone. Focus on yourself.
Face your front. That's a madness. I just think the conclusion to this is that there is no, for this section, is that we can't use silence as a clear indication of an end of a relationship.
Use common sense.
But can I just say, Angela?
Yeah, but sometimes common sense. But do you know what?
Yeah, but Angela, we can't say we can't use silence, because you know what? If silence wasn't to signify the end of something, we wouldn't even have the term ghosting. The term ghosting literally exists because it is a phrase that someone needs to come up with to say what happens when someone just disappears and goes silent. So obviously, there's no point us saying, "Oh, we can't use silence."
If it was clear, it would be called breaking up.
Yeah, but they can't break up because they're not in a relationship.
We're in a relationship in the first place.
Ending something. Like, I feel like silence by itself is not a kind way to signify the end of anything. To be very honest, I don't believe that's the nice way. I think you just have to be. I mean, I understand if you just.
It wasn't deliberately. I didn't deliberately ghost her. I just got lost in everything I was doing, and then just kind of forgot.
Can you help me to understand that, please? I don't understand.
What do you mean?
So you got lost in everything else you were doing?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Moving from east to west. Yeah.
I don't. So talk to me like I'm stupid. Explain to me what that means.
You're not stupid.
Oh, thanks, Linden. Explain to me what it means to get lost, because many people, again, will say, oh, you know what, he's really busy. He must be really busy at work. He's studying for exams, or he's buying a house. I just want to say to everybody, again, another PSA, there's lots of people, who can study for exams, go to the gym, hold down a job, hold down 1 or 2 jobs with their side hustle, and still have a relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
So when people say,
exactly.
There's also, Linden, it's getting close to you, people who can move from East London to West London and still hold down a relationship.
Did you carry all of your furniture on your back?
First of all, we were not in a relationship.
Okay, yeah.
It was some kind of transaction.
Yeah, you were in a relationship.
We're not in a relationship.
I understand.
So why am I carrying that with me to West London? What's the relationship?
You didn't have any baggage allowance.
I had no time for that.
I'm leaving that baggage in East London. Where were you living?
Huh?
Where were you living in East London?
Stratford.
Oh, God. Fair enough. He said it's not coming with me. No, Linden, I know this is semantics. You weren't in a relationship with her, but when you said I had a lot of stuff going on and I moved from East to West and I
was trying to get work.
No, Linden, you're not telling the truth. Tell the truth and shame the devil.
Wait, what am I not?
What you're saying is, I had so much stuff going on, I couldn't possibly continue talking to this person whom I wasn't in a relationship with.
Yeah.
And then when everything settled down and the dust settled and I was fully in West London, that's when I could open my eyes and meet the love of your life, Stephanie. Yeah, that's what you're saying. But I don't think that's correct. The Stephanie part is correct, but there's this whole part of I was so busy.
This wasn't a priority.
Just to say that.
Absolutely was not a priority.
Yeah, but say that to her.
Yeah, probably should have.
Success.
Angela.
But hold on.
Well done. That was very skillful.
My work here is finished.
Skillful.
She was not, I mean, like I said, went out once. That's it.
Yeah, that's a bit of a madness. If you only went out once and she called you.
And met up twice.
Linden, you must have just been, I don't know what to say, to be honest with you. You went out once, you met up twice, and she called you 6 months later. She's a better girl than me because I'm not doing that. Exactly.
There we go.
I wouldn't have done that. Maybe that's the right thing. There's other people that,
there's other people.
Maybe she had finished crying.
There's other people. There's other people that I left behind.
Got angry.
There's other people left behind that I tied it up with a bow. When I moved to West, I was like, you know what, this is done.
How many people?
There's not that many.
So hold on. How come you tied it up with a bow with those people and not with this?
Didn't deserve a bow.
Because the other person had more. It was more
substantial.
Yeah.
Okay, so
this is
forget that. I don't even want to delve into that. That's all right. It is what it is. But I wanted to say, what were you gonna? You said about I think she took 6 months because probably the first point she was confused. Yeah. Then she got angry. Oh wait. Then she was crying. She listened to all of Mary J. Blige's album because I know Drake wasn't out at that time. Mary J. Blige's album.
Linden, you're laughing at her pain.
And then she was like, I can do better. And then she came to Christmas time and her friends were like,
message him at Christmas because it's legitimate. It's legitimate. But she took it one further.
He's probably home. It's in a quieter area. Like she's just with family. Maybe he can reflect on this year and what he did badly. And
that's definitely what her friends told her.
And you know what? Just ask him. Maybe he's just in like the cheerful giving spirit and he'll give you an answer. No. You just said, what the hell? Why are you calling my phone?
She wanted to get in there before the new year.
Yeah.
She thought, let me get in there just in that window.
Maybe I can be one of his New
Year resolutions.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That's what she wanted to do. But unfortunately, it was never going to happen.
That door was already closed. That door was closed as it was open. That door wasn't even probably open. It was just cracked. It was very cracked. It was cracked open at the best of times.
No, it wasn't.
When you met her, did she ever have the potential to be your girlfriend?
No.
Oh, right. So what I'm trying to say is that you knew that this had an expiry date when it started.
What?
Yeah.
What?
This still had.
That was mean, you know.
No, but it's the truth. It's the truth. Sometimes the truth hurts.
Guys,
sometimes
be
the truth
honest. You know what? Honestly,
and that's reality, and you can
I
tell.
never told her that she was going to be my
I know, but you can
said
tell
nothing like that.
though.
You can
That's the
tell
point.
by. You can tell by. Let me tell you something. If you ever meet a girl and you can tell by the lifespan of your relationship or lack of relationship that when you met her, you didn't see anything with her, because you can't see a girl twice and that be it's gone through a whole lifespan of like, oh, I actually think I can be with her, or I'm definitely not gonna be with her, unless something wild has happened. I just think that you did know, and that's cool, that's fine.
Yeah,
I think that when she met you, she probably thought you might be the person that she marries. Thank God you didn't, because Stephanie's amazing.
Not only when she met him, she thought that for 6 months, Angela.
Yeah. Oh no, then she thought, and that's the reason why someone will call you 6 months later, because they're like, they invested at them, and maybe too early. It's true. Sometimes I feel like you can be emotionally promiscuous, but that's another thing altogether.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you can give a lot of your emotion and your time and your commitment when it is not deserved, and the same way people can give away their body
even
when it's not.
deserved.
Or it can be to so many
There's a little
people.
bit to the story I forgot. It's not good. Like, so a month after I'd left, I moved to West London. I wasn't with Steph or anything left yet, but she must have sent me like a video message or something, and she referred to me.
You had video phones then?
Yeah, I had a Nokia N95.
Oh yeah.
She referred to herself as.
I'm literally putting on my invisible seatbelt.
She referred to myself as my girl. I saw that. I was like, and I didn't say anything.
Can I?
Did you say like?
You didn't know?
Wait, I want to ask a question. Did you say, "Hey, it's your girl here," or was she say,
You're an idiot.
"Hey, it's your girl thing here," like casually, or did she say, "I don't know, just wanna be your girl. I'm already your girl"? If you didn't know,
somewhere between that.
Jeez,
Sorry,
Louise.
I need to understand, because the first time you
when
said it, I couldn't even breathe.
I forgot about that. I saw that. I was like, ooh.
Did you respond?
He said no.
Close the phone.
Lyndon, you just closed the phone and didn't reply to her. All right, two things. Number
That's
one,
an entire life.
Lyndon, that's not very nice, but it's okay.
I'm not saying listen. I'm telling the story because it's true.
Okay.
I'm not saying I was right.
It's okay. I've done things that weren't very nice before, but not recently. In Jesus' name, amen. And recently is like the past
This was
5 years.
2010.
Yeah.
So,
Mine's like
ago.
2002. I just want to say as well, though, this young lady, it hurts me, because I just want to say,
I hope you're
so he ghosted.
You're okay, whoever you are.
Me too. I hope you're fine, and I hope you know you're fire. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So he ghosted you. Then you sent a video, and there was no response. And then you sent the phone call.
That's why she had to wait 6 months.
6 months.
Oh,
later.
she needed to have better friends. She needed to have friends to be like, no.
But do you know what?
it.
That's an indication of how much she had already invested in the hopes that this will turn
I
out
don't know
something.
how you can invest.
Yeah, but girls are different. We're I think girls kind of know. Girls kind of know, especially if. Okay, let's leave that alone. Let's not divert there, because I'm not trying to get too personal. But I'm just saying, I feel like what a guy. Let me leave that alone. We're gonna cut this bit out.
Let me ask a question.
No, because okay, let me say what I want to say, and then we can cut it out anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what guys want from a girl, if it's just a quick like situation, is most times like a physical intimacy. And I feel like most girls have to get to a different stage commitment wise to be willing to give physical intimacy than a guy does. So if that has happened, the girl has reached a point of investment, commitment, and that doesn't necessarily match with the commitment that the guy has put into. So I can understand unless I'm assuming a lot, but I can understand why she would feel like it's the next natural stage is to jump to assuming or suggesting that she's your girl.
Especially if you guys have been talking a lot. So like talking a lot will lead to intimacy depending on what you're talking about and how often and like the topics of your conversations, blah, blah, blah. So I understand what you're saying, but I listened to a podcast the other day by the roommates, which is amazing, but whatever. And they said something very similar, but they said physical intimacy. They were saying that lots of guys will have like this particular hoe phase, but he said for most men it's short-lived because actually what you're trying to get is intimacy, and you don't always have intimacy when you have sex. So you can have intimacy when you have sex, but you don't always have to have intimacy when you have sex. So oftentimes, let's see, for instance, guys and girls have a hoe phase too. I'm not here to say that they don't. I didn't have a hoe phase. I don't have a hoe phase, so I can't talk on that. But for guys, he was saying guys are out here literally shopping around and looking for different things in different people. But then they realize, do you know what? What I'm looking for in you, I can't find. Let me settle down, quote unquote. Let me relax. Let me be covered by the blood of Jesus, and recognize that the intimacy that I want can't be found in sex. It has to be found in something else.
I think that's only some guys. I actually feel like sometimes you can. It can actually work the opposite way. You can start associating sex with what intimacy is for you, and if you've never experienced, I think people who look for intimacy in its truest form is someone who's encountered what intimacy is before.
That's true.
I think very few people who have no idea of what intimacy is are able to now decipher, actually this is not true intimacy. I think sometimes sex becomes what they know as intimacy.
That's why you're searching.
Yeah.
You continue to search for it because you haven't really quite encountered it. But I agree with you. Like you have to. I don't know. I don't know if you have to have encountered it to really know what you're searching for.
Or you can encounter it in a different type of relationship. It can be with your parents. It can be with your siblings. It can be in friendships. It can be like there's a different levels of intimacy. However, and maybe you're trying to figure out, trying to find something of that in your partner as well as the sexual side.
Yeah.
However, you've got shows like Love and Hip Hop. These people out here, some of these people are really dipping and doing it, and they're trying to dip even further to find, but you've already reached the bottom of the barrel. There is no intimacy here.
They're dipping and doing it with their friends' baby fathers or with their children's fathers, like group mates. It's all just a bit of a madness, to be very honest with you.
It's very, very. I think sometimes people don't really learn. Like, I think some people live their entire lives and not understand what true intimacy is. They never get to just because you've found that you can't really, nothing satisfying you here doesn't necessarily equate to you realizing it's not here and looking somewhere else.
But do you also think that's because, this is just my random thought, no one really speaks about how amazing it is to have true intimacy with your wife or like with one other person? Like not everybody, but like if we think about popular culture and music and like what's exciting, or like Love and Hip Hop, or any nonsense TV shows, or any film, it's all about get bitches and have money. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
What, bitch?
It is though. It is. Like it is that.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it because it isn't. It's not about let me settle down with like the one love of my life and focus on true intimacy, which can include sex but isn't limited to. They don't talk about that, and it's not lauded, and that's why I worry about my brothers. I feel stressed because actually,
yeah, she's got several.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And that's why, because actually, sometimes I think to myself, even if my brother, so my eldest brother, who's 16, like in 2 weeks, even if he's, please pray for him. Even if
He's all right, man. He's all right.
We'll see. Even if he's actually like, do you know what? I want to focus on one girl. Is that even going to be lauded? Is it going to be respected? Or his friends going to say to him, what are you doing? You're like, go and date loads of different girls, like try before you buy, like all this sort of stuff. That's a lot of pressure for him, even if he wants to be a quote unquote good guy, whatever being a good guy. Well, yeah, it does, but it's not even just your friends. It's just like the media. I just think it's all around. It's music, it's fashion, it's culture. I think it's all around you. Because I don't really hear that. I don't really see that narrative being represented elsewhere.
I think the media shows a certain like like sells a certain story to men, which is like get as many girls as you want, get money. And I think also some women as well actually is turning out to be women have been like just get men and get money.
Yeah.
But I think also then there's the other side, which has been stereotypically for women, that it's like it's all about romance, and if he doesn't come and take you to Paris and I'll tell you this is not really what you're looking for. I think all of it's
I'm telling you, Disney ruined our childhoods.
It's true.
Well, ruined our reality.
Absolutely. But not only
it's
that,
not just Disney, it's everyone.
It is everyone.
But apart from that, this is why I think it's so good for people who are married and people who. It's actually funny because I was looking at one of my friends who was married, and I thought, actually, I think they should start a podcast. I think that they've got a successful relationship, as far as I know. They're young. They're millennials, and they could give advice. And I think also, like, I listen to people like Kadeem and Deval's podcast, and I think as much as I don't agree with everything, I think there is a real need for people who are young and are in marriages to really give a good to separate the truth from the lies. And sometimes say, actually, this is not the way it's supposed to be. Whatever you're seeing out there is actually not the way it's supposed to be. Or these are all the lies that people sold you. This is how it really is. And if you're in a relationship like this, it doesn't mean something's wrong. This is actually a normal relationship. And this is what you should, these are your expectations, like the expectations you should have. Anyway, I've been listening to them. They've got an amazing podcast. I think it's amazing, actually. Let me disclaimer. I think it's amazing. But they had an episode where they're talking about what are the most important questions. So to avoid all of this, getting confused, being with someone who doesn't see a future with you, like making sure that you're not just getting involved in folly, unless you do want to get involved in folly and everybody's on the same page. What are the questions you should ask when dating to figure out if you're compatible or if this is something worth pursuing? I definitely want to ask those questions to both of you. So Linden
start
is
with Linden,
because
Linden's married.
Shaking his head.
I'm shaking my head
as a resident married person. Slightly confused, but I mean, you asked some questions and you're out here married.
Well, I didn't have any questions when the relationship started with Steph, I didn't have questions that I needed to ask her or that she asked me, so I can't give advice.
Okay, retrospect. Okay. Advice for example, one of your male friends come to speak to you and they're like, you know what?
One of your
three. I've met one of your three. One of your male friends come to speak to you and it's like, you know what, Linden, I've met this girl. I don't know her too well. We're dating. I think it's like the second date or third date. And I'm trying to figure out if she might be the right person for me. What do you think I should check? Like, what kind of conversations? What do you think I should ask? Is there anything that you would say, you know what? Maybe this didn't happen with you and Stefan. To be honest with you, you kind of knew each other before you started. You knew each other in some capacity before you started dating, and you knew a part of her background. So you knew she was Seventh-day Adventist. You knew like her family were in church. So like I'm talking about off the bat, if you don't know the person, like what would you say? What advice would you give?
I can't give advice. I really can't.
Why? Jesus.
I can't give advice because I don't think you should go into a date with prepared questions ready to ask.
No, it's not prepared questions, but there's topics that you need to cover.
Yeah, I don't think you should have that. I don't think you should have that.
Okay, so when can I ask a question? No, can I ask a question? So you have a lot of equipment. When you go to wherever, you order online,
It's not the same thing.
No, listen. So your earphones, your little fancy earphones there.
Fancy earphones.
When you look, there's something to you're checking. First of all, does this thing even freaking work? Yeah. Second of all, is it something that I will have long term or like price point, whatever? I think as much as you don't think about it, and maybe you didn't think about it before, there's certain things. For example, if one of the things they spoke about is like political views, that's not something that you probably go like, what are your political views? Some people approach like that. Some people will just ask in general. So like if that Deval was saying, if someone turned up to the date or if you met someone and he was fine black man who was talking to Kadeem. Black man, beard, good looking, everything, but came with a Make America Great hat again. What would that be off-putting? So, and how important it is to understand, like, or even background, or even religion. Yeah, as simple as, what do you believe in? Do you believe that I'm reincarnated and I was a flower like last year, or in my last life? Yeah, or do you believe that Jesus is coming back again, or do you believe that there's no God? Like, those are important things to know, and maybe you already knew that with Steph.
This date doesn't sound fun anyway.
No, it's not a date, Linden.
It's not
a date.
These things you learn over time. You don't go in and get all the questions of first
No, it's not a date.
First thing, when you have a date, you try and enjoy it first.
Oh my gosh, Linden, you've missed the whole thing.
Left the date.
I'm not talking about the initial.
I get what you're saying.
I'm not talking about the initial date. I'm talking about this person has been seeing this person. What information do you feel like before they get into a serious relationship? What information do you think they should have? I'm not talking about going there with a list of questions, but I'm talking about what amount of information do you need to have gathered throughout knowing them, speaking to them, before you can say, you know what, this could be a serious thing. Maybe I should phrase it like that.
Go backwards. If you actually think this is someone that you actually want to get married to and have children with, think about how you would raise your children first.
Yeah,
and go
okay,
backwards.
so so that's all right. And in that, what do you think are question, or what do you think is information that is critical? Not to get on the first date. That's never the case. No, not to get on the first date. Just in general.
Well, everything that you said, I guess. Everything you said.
Religion.
Political views. What they do for a living. What they want to do for it. What they want to get to do for a living.
Do you think that
would they move to another country, or different stuff like that?
That's a good question. Would you move to another country? That's really good.
We'll come back to that for a second. What do you think?
I think it's about values. Mm-hmm. An interesting question someone asked me once was about money management. Mm-hmm. I found that really odd on the second date, and it wasn't really the second date, it was really the first date, but that's a separate conversation. It was about money management, and but that was related to their values, and that was about transparency and trust, ambitions, what do you want to do with your life kind of questions. I always talk about people being kind, because I think that's a really underrated characteristic. Family stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, what does family mean to you?
Do you know what the ones I find the most common, like, when I think about it? The questions have been family related, money related, career related. Always. It's and funny enough, as much as you say it's one person that asks you about, like, money management, I found that to be a very common theme.
Really?
Absolutely. I found that to be a common theme.
No, but
just about, and not about, okay, how much money are you making, but about what do you currently, and this is not on the first day, it's like, what are your spending, like, me kind of trying to figure out what are your spending habits
and how do you expect to get an honest and
no but in general
to be honest with you, I actually think that's a bit inner. I think so for me, if I want to know about financial goal, that's what I want to know about, because spending habits, it's whatever, like I want to know, are you a secret gambler, like whatever, those kind of things are important. That's a red flag. But actually I can see what kind of person you are when we go out. Are you the kind of person who has always got cash? Do you pay everything with card? Do you give stuff to people? Are you generous? Are you stingy? You can see all those things. Yeah. Are you always telling me you've ordered something new from ASOS? Are you always going shopping? When you go shop, and I met somebody and he's just like, yeah, I want a pair of jeans, so I'm going to Selfridges. And I just said, oh, you don't want to go anywhere else? He's like, nope.
Selfridges.
He's like, I'm going to Selfridges for jeans. And I said, no other shops? He's like, no. And he's like, and if I want a coat, I'm going to go to he's like, in my mind, if I want something, I'm going to the best place where I know I'm going to get everything. I'm not going to shop around. Cool. That lets me know you're not really a bargain shopper. You're not one to scrimp and save when it comes to things that you want. You're going to go, if you want a sofa, you're going to get the best sofa. If you want a car, he had a very nice car, you're going to get the best car. Like, I feel like you don't have to ask those questions, because actually,
not even
people are going to tell you what they think you want to know.
Of course.
Could have been stunning.
I think that people
could have been stunning, could have been lying.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
People don't really necessarily ask out front, like bam, like what are your spending habits?
Yeah.
No, but I think sometimes you can feel like someone's trying to gauge, like, are you a saver? Are you a spender? Do you spend frivolously? Do you have savings? Are you thinking about the future in terms of your money?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do. You know what? I have to say,
Absolutely.
I haven't really encountered that apart from when someone said, "Do you own your property?" And I said, "I'm saving to buy a house," and they were like, "Oh, okay."
They asked you outright.
Outside my front door.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like, "Do you own this house? Do you own this flat?" And I said, "It's 6 flats, so no." And they were like, "Oh, okay." And I said, "I'm saving to buy." And then I said, "Do you own a house?" And they were like, "No." And I said, "Okay."
I think really money. Questions or conversation about money, and it might be well into the relationship, or you getting to know each other, is actually quite important. I think to me initially it felt uncomfortable, but I think it's important because actually marriages and relationship fail out for two things: infidelity, finances. So and I think and it's really
so. Why do people talk about sex more than if it's infidelity and finances?
Oh, I think they're trying to figure out like I think it's not only about sex. People are to figure out if you can be someone who's trustworthy in terms of like, okay, what happened with your last relationship? How did that feel?
But you know what? I just feel like those questions are so weird. Linden, didn't we have this conversation about asking people what happened in their last relationship? Or maybe it was me and you, Angela. Because the truth is, you're only ever going to get that person's perception and that person's truth of what happened in the last relationship.
Yep.
Obviously, there's something. So if they say it was all the other person, I didn't do anything wrong, that tells you that's a little bit of a warning sign.
Yeah.
However, even if they say, oh, it happened, it was this and this and this and this and this, there's no way for you to fact check it.
No, it's true, but you can tell by the way the person tells the story. So exactly the same way as in an interview, they say what happened in your last job. Even if you know that might be a lie or whatever they tell you is just a pretend lie, you can tell if they ever take so what did you learn from that situation. You can tell that actually it was a learning experience. So okay, person, my girlfriend was crazy, and I realized that my girlfriend was crazy is a big red flag. But I realized that I need to look at these traits before I date somebody else. Kind of brings it back round.
But can I be controversial?
You don't like that?
So if somebody had asked Linden, what did you learn from your last relationship? He's going to say, I wasn't in a relationship.
Yeah, it wasn't a relationship for him.
No, I wouldn't even talk about the one that wasn't in.
Yeah.
I'd talk about the one
that
in which was an actual relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't talk about the ones that wasn't.
Because nothing could have happened in that relationship because you went in that quote unquote relationship because you went in knowing it wasn't anything. Do you know? So I think that's a non-factor. I think you'd have to say, like, from an actual relationship, what happened when you intended to stay together and it didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
You didn't actually stay together.
What if your ex was actually crazy?
I mean, there's a lot of people out here who have crazy ex, and we're trying to figure out what is the meaning of crazy. But not only that, I think maybe you can use that term, which is a very alarming term. My ex was crazy because it doesn't really say anything. But I think it's the way in which you bring it around. I decided that I'm never going to date a girl that I find screaming on. I met her when she was screaming on the street, and I decided I'm not going to date girls who I find whiling on the street.
That's a lot of people. You rule out a lot of girls. Can I just ask a question? I don't know if you've already answered it, but really it's for Linden. People say often that you can tell if the person that you meet very quickly is the kind of person that you want to date and have a serious relationship with, like straight off the bat.
Yeah.
And obviously we've discussed that the person in this particular story that you were having like a chat with, I'm just going to call it a chat because that's what it was.
What chat? What are you talking about?
This girl you were having a chat with, and then she said,
which girl are you talking about?
I don't know.
East London girl.
How many girls you having a chat with, fam?
But yeah, whatever. Okay, her, right?
Her, yeah. You were just having a chat with her, but when Angela asked you, could you see the two of you in any sort of relationship? You're like, absolutely not, no. So you said that with such certainty, yeah? What I want to know is, do you think we can say, let's say for like 60-70% of men, let's not be too crazy.
I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'll speak for me.
For goodness sakes.
Go ahead.
Speak for yourself then. And Linda's going to represent all guys today. Okay? Yeah? Speak for yourself. Do you think that guys can tell straight off the bat meeting a girl?
No, I can't. I know I can tell. But I don't think that everyone else can.
Really?
Some people can, but not everyone else can.
Why?
I know straight away.
Why do you know?
I don't know.
No.
Can I ask a question?
Is it because you know yourself? Like, are you very clear
possibly,
on what you want or like and what your purpose is?
Could be that, yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
In my head, I feel like there's there's a spectrum. I feel like there are individuals where, you know, off the bat, nothing can really happen with you. Even though maybe I'm attracted to you, nothing can really come off this. I think there are special situations where, you know, immediately when you meet the person, this is actually probably going to be my wife. Is there any time that someone falls in the middle where it's like, I'm not saying that I definitely think there's nothing going to happen with you, but I'm not sure if you're all the way to wife material. So we're going to figure, there's people that fall in the middle.
There's one who I couldn't tell you why I didn't think it could work.
Yeah.
But I knew it wouldn't work.
From the very, very beginning.
When it came to crunch time, when I had to make a decision.
What's crunch time?
Crunch time is when she was asking, "Are we going to do this properly?" And I was like,
"Well, kudos to her for asking the question. Number one,
exactly,
you've been saying that.
Yeah.
And then, how was what did you respond to her with? You're like, nah.
It wasn't. It was a long conversation, and I'm not going to say the whole
No.
conversation.
Sorry, like I don't.
But it was no. I couldn't put my finger on.
Yeah.
Well, actually, to be honest, I wasn't ready at that time, and I didn't know where I was going to be in the next few months, so I didn't want her to wait either.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm not going to make you wait, and I don't think this is the right time. So let's just not do it at all.
Yeah.
I just knew it just wasn't right. I don't know why.
Clap for yourself.
I couldn't tell you which one, but it wasn't the right one.
Clap for yourself. That's emotional maturity right there.
My question really was like, actually, I know you said you either really you know or you don't know, but I think that there's sometimes when you're not too sure, you don't think that this person might not be someone that I can marry, but this person, I'm not saying there's absolutely no way. Like, you're still trying to get, like, and talking about in your initial meeting of the person, you can't really figure out, like, they don't fall into either category. There's some people that are like, you're waiting to see, maybe that might be, or I'm not sure.
It depends if I'm even thinking about that at the time, though. So when I first met that person, I wasn't thinking about marriage then. But then when she asked the question, I was thinking, hold on, am I actually going to be in this relationship for a long time? I don't know. I can't really waste my time or make you wait.
When you met Steph, were you thinking about marriage specifically, or did you meet Steph and you were just like, rah, can't let her go?
I imagined marriage.
When you met her, were you thinking about
met is
meeting?
a difficult thing to talk about. But when we were talking in the summer before, before like when we were like official, I knew already that I would marry her.
Aww,
that's not lovely. That's so sweet. Look at Mrs. face.
I'm just happy.
That's why he never tells us anything, because we go.
I can't help it. Can I not be happy? That's really interesting. So it's so interesting.
Can I just also say something? And this might be controversial, but I think if in some cases, I would go out and say in the majority of cases, if you want the person to take you seriously, they need to know that you come from somewhere.
What do you mean?
I think that they need to have an idea of your family. I think when people have seen your family, know of your family, kind of have a background of you and where you're coming from, I think they have to take more care, or they have to be a bit more careful. I feel like if you're just a random person, or if the person doesn't know much about you apart from like, I just met you here, that you're easy to like be not disposable, but the person that needs to take you seriously. But when you know that when you know of their family, when you know of their background, when you know of like their, I don't know if I'm explaining this properly, but if like, for example, if a guy meets you and they know your family already, maybe they've happened to be in Bristol, they know your family, they know like your mom, you know your brother, your brothers, they know your auntie and stuff like that. Even if they don't know them well, when they meet you, when they're talking to you, they take you slightly a bit more seriously, I think, or they're less likely to do a nonsense. Some people still go ahead and do it, but I think that it just adds a little bit more weight to what you're saying to the person.
Do you know what I think? I think that makes a lot of sense, but I actually think that's how women process things. Because if I think about my friends who've most recently got married, that's just not the case for any of them.
Really?
No, like I don't think they met people who knew them at all. They literally met random people. My friend got married to a guy last year, and she met him randomly at someone's like New Year's Eve party. He didn't know anything about her. and I don't think he knew anything about her for a while.
Oh wow, that's what my next question was going to be.
Yeah, so then I think like he met her family, but like not for like I'd say like maybe like a year in, but they so I don't know. That's an interesting one for me, especially if you think about things like people meeting at university and stuff. Because I think a lot of relationships happen at university because I guess you're around people and you're meeting so many different people and you're spending a lot of time in a concentrated area. But actually, again, like my friend's brother, he met someone at university and they're married and they've literally been childhood sweethearts. Well, since 18. I don't think family was really involved. So I agree with you because logically it makes sense to me. But sometimes I think as women, we are looking for things and we're making sense logically, but actually guys just don't look at things like that. I don't know. What do you think, Linden?
I wasn't really thinking about her family or anything at all.
Okay, maybe I should say the opposite way. If they know your family, they're less likely to do a nonsense, and maybe they're not more likely to go long term, but they kind of are more intentional about what they do, or they're more likely to close it properly, like to say, actually. Like,
I hear what you're saying, and like I said, it makes sense. I just don't think it's a logical conclusion. So in this instance, I would just say, yeah, no. It makes sense, and I would hope that people do that, but I just don't think it's the case. What I think is the case is if someone does know your family, they're not going to take the mick with your life.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
No, but what you're saying is...
No, I'm saying maybe me saying that they're going to take you seriously is not what I'm saying. It's the backwards way. It's like they're not going to take the mick with your life.
Yeah, I don't think family is something that guys are considering when they're seeing you, because to be very honest with you, like everybody is attracted to somebody. Everyone's visual. People will say that men are more visual than women. We can debate that or we cannot. If a guy sees you and he thinks you look nice and he has a good conversation with you and you guys have got similar values, I don't think he's thinking about your family for a little while.
No, but I'm just saying, like, for example, someone's less likely to ghost you when they know that actually in the back of their mind they can see your family or someone you've had a conversation, or they've interacted with somebody that they feel like, okay, you know what, I might not respect this girl, but actually I may have to come face to face with her parents or her brother or her sisters or somebody, and like I'll have to answer to, or even like I just feel like it paints more of a picture, and so you can't really
but what if you can't? Like, what if you? But what if you can't? Like, because if you, let's say we're all at university. No one's going to meet our parents.
Oh no! So I'm not encouraging people to do that.
No. I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying like that narrative. I think doesn't lend itself well to lots of scenarios.
It's true.
Do you know what I mean? So like, if I met somebody at work, you're not going to meet my parents well, and for me, I'm not going to introduce you to my parents unless we are in a quote unquote relationship. Until someone's asked a question. You know what? This guy said to me a long time ago. There was this guy who liked me, and I had a really close guy friend at the time, and I said, "Oh, this guy likes me and I feel a bit awkward and I don't really know what to do, and I know that whenever he's talking to me, he's trying to like gauge my like, I guess my like how much I liked him." And my guy friend said to me, "You don't owe any guy anything, and until someone comes out and says to you, hey, listen, Fabrice, I like you, can we go on a date, you don't have to like walk on tiptoes around him, you don't have to act a certain kind of way, you can act however you want to act." And I was like, oh, okay, no problem. I'm just saying this scenario of having family or friends or recognizing or having people that, you know, somebody like almost in your corner, I just don't think it lends itself well to like scenarios that we're in.
Yeah.
And I think the only scenario it lends itself well to is a scenario where everybody grows up around each other.
Yeah.
And that's not my situation because I've moved across different cities. I went to university in Birmingham, I moved to London. Like, it doesn't really, what happens if you move abroad and you meet someone? Do you know what I mean?
That's very true. Mate,
I don't know.
Like my sister says, men are mad and they'll kill you if you give them a chance.
Wow. What kind of...
They will kill, if you let them, they'll kill you.
You know what? I've heard that said a number of times.
Meeting, man, really.
I've never heard people say that about women, you know? I'm just going to say that for free.
Oh, yeah.
People don't say that about women, Linden.
They don't say it.
No.
Don't they?
They'll say women are crazy.
No. They don't say women are going to kill you. Even though sometimes some of you deserve just to be not killed, but like a little bit scared.
Neutered.
Which?
Neutered?
Neutered.
Neutered? Wow, that is so violent.
That is a little bit violent.
It's actually sounds like a very soft word. But
I've had enough of you, Angela, today.
Do you? Never mind.
No, Would you rather me say castrated?
Your sisters just sit together and just man bash.
No, not really.
What?
Not at all.
Man bash?
But let me tell you something. Whatever we do say has been rightly that you guys really deserve it. Like you guys have worked hard for it. Worked hard, and we're just giving you we're shouting you out.
To end this off, yeah, because we've got to wrap up now, guys. To end, can I tell you a very funny story that someone told me about a first date they went on? Second date they went on. So, second date, they're not in a relationship, and no one knows their family. Yeah, so family's null and void, and they're not in a relationship. They met online. This story is so funny. And I asked my friend's permission, and I said to her, I'm going to say this on the podcast. So my friend is beautiful, but that's not really here. That's neither really here nor there, but whatever she is. So she's online dating on an app many of you may or may not know of called Hinge. I'm going to leave my opinions about Hinge for another podcast. Anyway, so yeah, she's on the app. She meets this guy. I think they go for drinks and maybe drinks and dinner. And she's like, he was very nice, but she said a few things. He didn't look like his photo. I think she was like, in his photo, he has a hat on, but like in real life, he didn't have a hat. And I said, oh, he was trying to Neo you, but never mind. And then anyway, so she didn't. She said Neo? He was It is Neo. Neo always wears a hat. Yes. Anyway, so they went on a first date. She goes, he was really nice, but she kind of thought to herself, I'm not really feeling it. But she thought, you know what? Everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone deserves a second date. So they go on a second date. So I don't know where they met, but she wanted to go to Dishoom, like an Indian restaurant, right?
Oh, yeah, Dishoom's fire.
Dishoom's a vibe. So she wanted to go to Dishoom, I think the one in King's Cross, and then they met up in central London. And he was just like, oh, okay, no problem. So they were walking. He goes, oh, 1 second, I just need to pop into TK Maxx for something. So she was like, what? He's like, I need to pop into TK Maxx. So she's like, oh, okay, no problem. But she's like, I'm just really hungry. And if you don't know, Dishoom, you can't make a reservation. You just have to go and queue up, right?
What?
You can.
Wait, which one was this?
The one in King's Cross.
Oh, I've been somewhere in Carnaby Street. Yeah, you have to make it.
The one in Carnaby Street, yeah. I've seen people queuing. Anyway, whatever. So
you can do both.
Oh, okay. So she was like, look, let's just go. Like, I want to go. I'm really looking forward to eating, blah, blah. Bearing in mind, she doesn't really like him. So she's going out to have something to eat. She goes, it's my suggestion.
But she doesn't really like him, but she's going on the date anyway.
No, she wanted to give him a second chance, Linden.
Okay.
So she goes and he's like, I need to pop into TK Maxx. I need to go and collect something. So she's like, okay, no problem. So now they're walking in King's Cross. And I think... Is it King's Cross or Covent Garden? Whatever. She's walking and she goes, yeah, we went into TK Maxx and he starts like perusing the aisles, like chick, chick, chick. And if you don't know, TK Maxx is like a big shop.
It gives me a headache.
Full of a lot of stuff. You can go in there.
I don't go to TK Maxx ever.
It gives me a headache.
You can go in there and get lost. You can go in there and get a book. You can go in there and buy a candle. You can go in there and buy toiletries. It's like a department store.
We went into the equivalent of TK Maxx in America in Chicago and we came out with Christian Diaries. We went there for carry-on luggage, and we came out with Christian Diaries.
Yes, yeah,
so
great.
Just know that's the kind of shop TK Maxx.
You can buy anything and everything in TK Maxx. So my friend is there dressed to the nines because she's going for dinner for a date.
Wow!
And this guy's there, like just perusing the aisles. Then he's trying on a coat, and she said, "Fabrice, imagine I'm there." And she's saying to him, "Oh gosh, like it's time." Tapping her, it's time to go now. And he's just like, "Oh yeah, I know, I'm coming." Blah blah blah, and
he wanted to show that he had money.
So he's like buying the coat, that's what I thought. So then he's trying on the coat, tries on the jacket, starts looking at books, and she's like, "What did you come here for?" Because she's like, I genuinely thought he came in here to pick up something, like click and collect parcel, and he thought I'm walking past him, just quickly.
Even that's a bit rude.
Even that is a bit rude. Yeah. So she said 45 minutes later.
No, sis.
Well.
45 minutes later, do you know what he came out with? A backpack. I said, wait, it gets worse. And she said,
what?
Did he go in there for a backpack?
What? He went in there to buy a coat. What are you talking about? And then he said to her, I really want to wear my backpack now. So, like, do you have anything I can put in my backpack to make it bigger? I said to my friend, you're lying. She said, I'm not lying. I said, so first of all, you're wasting 45 minutes of my time that I'm never going to get back in my life. And now you've purchased your backpack and now you want to say to me, you want to put it on your back now. And can I give you something to put in there?
Let me tell you what you can put in there. You can put in your dignity because you just dropped it there. You can zip it open and put it inside.
I said to her, why did you wait? She goes, because I wanted to eat in Dishoom. She said, She said, I wanted to go and have Indian food. So I said, what happened? She goes, we went to Dishy. And then...
Please tell me she got to eat Dishy.
She got to eat, but the queue was out of control. Then they had to wait a further 45 minutes in the queue. And he was like, oh my goodness, this queue so long. And she was like, is it long? Is it long? Let me tell you what's not long. Waiting for you in TK Maxx. So had I not waited for you in TK Maxx,
You would have been in the front of the
I would have been at the front of the queue eating my whatever it is I wanted to eat. I couldn't believe it. So I just said to her...
That's hilarious.
It's out of control.
That's hilarious. Like, it's out of control when you buy a backpack and you made me wait 45 minutes. Did I tell you that I want to go on a shopping trip with you? But then to tell me, listen, I want to wear this right now. Do you have anything I can put in my bag?
You know what he wanted to do? I said to her, because I couldn't understand it, I said, no, I don't get it. I said, you know what? One of two things happened.
Do you want to steal from me?
Number one, I said, that's like a very coupley activity to do. Let's go pick something up in TK Maxx and then let's just pop into Dishy and get. That's a very coupley activity. I said, I think he wanted to accelerate the relationship and bump forward and get to like, oh, we're boyfriend, girlfriend.
Whatever you accelerated, you unaccelerated, but you reversed by asking me if you've got something to put in. You know the people that ask, do you have something that I can put in my bag? It's little girls to their mom like, oh, I've got a handbag, but I have nothing to put inside of it. Can you give me something to put inside of my bag? That's what, like, this is so what you could have worn it empty. Leave the little crumpled up,
keep it in
paper.
the bag.
Who knows what's in your bag? Put this on your bag.
Why are we buying something and then wanting to wear it right there and then? Are we children?
No, he can wear it if he wants to, but don't you don't need to put anything in it. Who knows what's in your bag? Maybe something's in there.
What about paying for dates?
Huh?
Paying for dates.
Paying for it.
I mean, you know, we're quiet, you know.
Let me stop.
In this age of
Stop.
equality, feminism,
Relax,
all them
brother.
things there.
Equality doesn't mean that's the same. It means equal.
Yeah, what?
Equal doesn't mean the same.
Equal means the same.
No, it doesn't.
It means equal.
No, it doesn't.
It means the same thing.
No, it doesn't.
It means equal amounts.
Equal doesn't mean the same. I can be equal to Fabrice, but we can be different. Equality doesn't mean the same.
So this is where you tell me that men should always pay.
I think the person who asks to go on the date, should pay, and I live my life by that.
Right,
I will always offer.
The offer is bogus. The offer is bogus.
Guess what?
Listen,
it's not a bogus offer.
But to be fair, let me finish. No, I'm on your side. Because I
can tell you that your offer is bogus, and then he's on your side.
No, it is because the offer is bogus.
That sounds like a lie.
But you're just playing the game. You're playing the game. Let me just. Oh, okay.
To be honest, it's not a game.
I went on one date once when I was at uni.
Okay.
I'm at uni, I'm broke, right? When it was went to the cinema because you gotta do something.
Because he can.
You gotta do something.
Because you gotta do something. It's a pastime.
Gotta do something. It was only cinema anyway. We went to cinema and then we
Cinema's expensive, bro.
Yeah, it was in Canary Wharf as well.
Whoa,
rah!
Yeah. So we went to cinema, right?
You didn't consult your bank account when you did that.
I did, and then I was ready to pay. So the person asked for the money, and then the look that the girl gave me was if to say, "You better have your money and pay." Just the way she looked at me, I was like, "Raw, why are you looking at me like that?" Like, I'd prefer if she looked.
Did you ask her?
I didn't ask her anything. I just paid anyway.
No, did you ask her to go out with you?
I can't remember who asked. I can't remember. I probably did. I don't know.
Man like Linden.
Can't remember.
I can't remember. But yeah, the look that she gave me was if to say like, "Yeah, go on and pay." Then I just don't like that. What
don't you like? The assumption or the look?
The assumption.
No, you don't like the look because
I the assumption.
Because I'll assume, but I'm not going to look at you like that. Because my assumption is
I didn't like the look.
My assumption it's the look that you don't like. It's the
because I'm always going. No, the thing is, I'm always going to pay. But I don't.
But you want to play the game, like let me pay.
So we're all playing a game. We're all playing a game. The game is you're going to pay. You're going to always pay, and my game is I expect you to pay. To be honest, I said this before. I don't think I've ever paid for a first date. To be honest,
that's wild.
But I will always say my question is, how do you want to pay? I'm not asking, do you want to split it? I'm saying, how do you want to pay?
Why are you asking me how you want to pay? It's your business. You're not paying.
Because you know what? I'm playing the game. I'm not going to look at you and look at you and give you some dirty look as if to be like, you better pay. There's no need for that. There's just no need. But I'm still not paying. Because as far as I'm concerned, you asked me out. However, like for me, I don't really buy into this whole you always have to pay every single time because it's not sustainable. And to be honest,
the only thing I remember about that whole day is that moment.
You see?
That moment
It
is
was
the only
over right
thing.
there.
I don't remember what film we watched.
Oh God.
I don't remember what happened before or
was
after.
so vexed.
I just remember that moment when she looked at me like that when I paid. That's
But
it.
I definitely think first date, if it's done the traditional way, I think the guy should always pay, unless the girl has asked the guy to come out.
It's
He could
whoever
have
asks.
he could have eaten rice and beans in his house. So to be honest with you, if you ask the person to come up to the house, you know how they're eating. But I think if it's ongoing and you're in a relationship, at what point on the second date, if he asks you to come out again, does he pay?
I say yeah. I
Third-
think I paid like
third
on
date?
the third. So I paid after the second date. I said, oh, let's go somewhere because I want to go somewhere and I'll pay. So we went somewhere that I had chosen, and I tried to pay it, and he was like, no, that's not happening, and he paid. But I think it depends on your values as a guy. I think that's kind of like, I don't know, Linden, what do you think?
About which what?
When does a guy have to stop paying or would allow a girl to start paying for stuff when you're dating?
Well, okay, there's two different things here. First of all, I'm married now, and I tend to pay for most things.
Okay.
If we go out, but she'll still get stuff from me, right?
Mm.
So it's not everything where we even keep a track of it. It's just life, right?
Yeah.
Before my ex, she had money, so sometimes she'd just pay for things without asking. Then sometimes I would pay for things without asking.
Okay.
So there was never a conversation of when you decide to pay for things.
You guys just had a understanding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I've never actually had that that situation. If I'm going to pay because I don't know you that well, or just kind of in. But in a relationship, it goes either way.
I think that's really nice. I think it takes
been
away the the bill's coming.
Like
who's paying? Who's not paying?
But it's depending.
You
on
have to do the dance or anything.
It all
like
depends
that.
on
where you go. So like
close you
at
are.
Duck and Waffle, that's what they do. So I hate that. I don't want to be like a name drop. To be honest, Duck and Waffle's not even that nice, but whatever. So like I think it depends on where you go. So usually, if you go to like a fancy place in the city, where you can very easily spend hundreds, if not thousands, like quickly, they'll say, "Do you want me to open a tab for you?"
Yeah.
Like I think that's like a standard question.
But
in
I don't
America,
think
that happens all the time.
But I don't think that he had to do that. I think a lot of places maybe they might, if you're having loads of drinks, they'll say, "Do you want us to open a tab for you?" And you give in your card and they'll give you a thing. But I think it was just like if you're just going for drinks, you don't necessarily have to open a tab. Like it's always an option. I don't think there's places that they force you to open a tab.
No, of course not.
So I think he had opted to do that because he didn't want specifically because he didn't want the conversation about paying the bill at the end. He didn't want her to he wanted it to be all done before she has a chance to say like, okay, let's see how much half was.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I think that's really classy of him. I think that's really and for his age as well, like I think he's like 26. Like that's really, I think that's really meanwhile there's people out here acting like
Five Guys is expensive.
ragamuffins.
To be honest with you, this is going to sound really bougie, but if you want to talk to me about going to Five Guys, it's just not going to happen.
No, but they were much younger than that. To be honest, I think they were.
You know what though?
Well, it depends on the level your relationship is. If you're just casually going to Five Guys, you can go to Five Guys.
No, Linda, that's not what we're talking about. I'm not saying we're out shopping or we're out going somewhere. Oh, I'm hungry. Me too. Let's run into Five Guys. That's a very different narrative to.
You're talking about you get ready, you get dressed, you do your makeup, you do your hair.
Leave
you
London.
enter Five Guys.
You go on a train.
They even got hard. Anyone that has really hard seats, there's no soft seat at all. Everything's made of hard wood.
Yeah,
unless it's a style.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
It's a
they don't want you to sit there for very long.
They don't, and it's not a restaurant. It's just a fast food place. It might sound nice food, but it's not a restaurant.
It's not very fast, but yeah.
Do you know what? Five Guys isn't very fast.
Do you know what? Five Guys, it's quicker to deliver, to get Five Guys delivered to your house than getting it from in the actual shop.
You're not wrong. The other day I went there in your area, and I was like, "Wow, we were there the other day," and I was like, "This is taking forever."
Listen, the funniest thing, I was in the O2. Come at the same time. I was in the O2 the same day of the WizKid. It was a WizKid concert and an Angie Stone concert.
At the same time, in the same
venue.
Really?
Yeah.
The same concert.
One in Indigo.
One in Indigo, one in the
okay.
arena. And so everything finishes, and most of the restaurants are closing. And when I tell you, all the black people just converged and just descended on Five Guys was the only place that was there. I want to tell you about the stress of the way that they're making this. They didn't make it any more faster. They just look very stressed.
They don't go any faster. They've got one speed.
Stressed. They look stressed.
They just get the same quality, and that's it.
And they messed up our order. They gave us double the food. I said, sir, you put like 4 burgers and 2 chips inside here. And he was just like, I mean, yeah, 4 burgers and 2 chips. And he was just like, oh, sorry, that's all right.
What can I do with it? Because it's someone else's order.
Listen, you don't have time to give people double food when the whole place is full of black people waiting for food. They're hungry.
Black people who are hungry are a different kettle of fish.
I'm going to cut that out.
About Five Guys?
About black people. That will cut that straight
You're
out.
such a dictator. Anyway, guys, do you know what? This has been very interesting. I feel like I've learned a lot.
I
Yeah.
feel like I've spoken too much.
No, that's all right.
You've
spoken just enough.
No.
Just enough.
No, it's too much.
You've spoken just enough. I think I learned a lot too.
I really learned a lot. But as we round up, Linden, I just want to say, before we start nominating people for Clap Yourself and Slap Yourself, I just want to say, Linden, I'm going to nominate you.
For what?
For clapping yourself.
Clap.
Yeah.
You've got to do slap first.
I don't want to do slap first. How about that?
All right. Raw.
Sorry, that came out so mean. No, you're right. Fine, we'll do slap yourself first.
Yeah, why?
No, you really
No, it's okay.
Let's go to clap.
No, it's all right. I'm happy to be wrong. I don't mind. Let's do slap yourself first.
No, we didn't care about going to slap yourself as the way you said. How about that?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. I'm just a bit tired. I was gonna say clap yourself because Linden,
Uh-huh.
today I feel like I learned something new.
Okay.
And I learned it from yourself.
Okay.
And I also learned 2 things. One, that when a guy ghosts you, bless you.
You what?
When a guy ghosts you,
Yeah.
or when Linden ghosts you, it's because you weren't in a relationship, boo. Sorry. And number 2,
true.
when you're in a relationship, he's going to tie that knot up carefully before he moves from east to west.
Yeah.
Because that moving scenario is very stressful.
That's right.
Don't
Very
date
busy.
a guy who is planning on moving anytime soon. That's what I learned.
That is actually what I learned. And you
Well,
reminded...
if you're in a relationship with the person, it's actually fine. If you're not,
I
then
don't even-
it might be a bit
it's
mad.
safer to date him when
Not-
he's settled.
Yeah, and
No.
Yeah?
No.
And also,
how you get
wait,
married.
let me land. That's how you get married. I don't know about
That's how
that.
you get married and you're still living there several years later.
And being in a casual relationship is not a relationship. I mean, I already knew that already. I didn't learn any of that, but I just want to say, clap for yourself
Okay.
for tying the knots and tying it up.
And being an open book.
Oh, hallelujah!
Because sometimes Linden is like Linden's like earphones that you're trying to figure out how to get it untangled. So what are you really saying here, sir?
Angela's euphemisms, analogies, not
What are you
euphemisms,
really
They're
saying?
analogies.
fantastic. They're amazing.
I don't know. Sometimes
Where'd
I
you
look
get
at
them
you.
from?
This is how I think in
And
my
she
head. I
says-
swear to you.
I thought you were
How
going to
did
say
you
like
get-
I thought you were going to say like a treasure chest
Earphones
or like
that
a
you're trying to
safe.
untangle.
She
How
said
did you-
earphones you're trying to untangle.
I'm telling you.
That's
Was
fantastic.
What are you trying to? What are you saying?
Clap for you.
Clap for yourself.
Fantastic.
I like to clap for all the men that make it abundantly clear what their intentions are.
Oh, for goodness.
Keep doing what you're doing. And nice guys don't finish last.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if the media want you to think that,
Yeah,
they don't.
it's a lie.
Faye, can I just say the last person that I want to slap? Actually, allow it. Finish.
Yeah, we've
Finish
slapped a lot
there.
of people.
We've been talking for like 2 hours.
Look, he's scrolling and scrolling. It's got Jesu.
I want us to finish half an
Emmanuel.
hour ago, you know.
All right then. Peace out, yo.
Peace out.
Say goodbye, Angela.
Bye. Bye, guys.
That's her wet voice.